So if you're anything like me, you probably find it pretty hard to chill and relax at the end of the day or in any period of the day. We've all got 1,000 different things that we need to do. We have these responsibilities in our life. We have friends and family and work and training and all these different hobbies. We have all these things that we need to do in our days. So it's just going to be easier if we just push through and just keep it going and keep the brain working and just try and solve all these problems all at once. But I am actually here to tell you today that it's probably going to be a little bit better off if you take some time out of your day to chill, and to chill properly, not just laying on the couch on your phone or watching TV. We're going to learn how to chill properly so that our nervous system can actually get in a state where we can repair our body, recover, and we can bounce back the next day actually feeling rested and not just feeling more like jacked up than we were the day before. So in this video today, we're just going to look at the two, really simplified, the two nodes of the nervous system that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about why it's even good to get ourselves in this certain type of nervous system. Then we're going to talk about different ways, these practical ways that we can actually get ourselves there. And then I'm going to send you on your way. So pay attention. It's really easy stuff, and once you learn it once, you're never going to forget it. Cool. Sweet. So our body has many different branches to our nervous system, but to avoid your eyes just glazing over and you falling asleep, we're just going to focus on two parts. So these two parts are inside our autonomic nervous system. So that means it's this stuff that happens without us even having to try. It's this automatic stuff that happens. It's digestion, it's healing, it's your heart beating. You don't have to pay attention to make this stuff happen. It just does it. So inside this autonomic nervous system, we have two branches. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which it doesn't really match its name, but the sympathetic is responsible for anything that happens that's dangerous. So you would have heard it before. It is the fight, flight, or freeze. And this is actually really helpful for us. It helps us when we train. It helps us when we get into acute stressful situations. It will raise our heart rate, and everything will just be, it's going to send adrenaline around our body. It's going to razz us up a bunch, and we're going to get the thing that we need to do done and get ourselves to safety. So think about back in the day, if a lion was chasing us, that would send our parasympathetic nervous system through the roof, and we would just haul ass to get away from that lion. Cool. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is essentially the opposite of the other one. And it's responsible for resting, recovering, digestion, and our reproductive system. And so these two, they're not like an on and off switch. There's imagine a slider, and you're continually sliding from side to side throughout your day. So you're never just one or the other. You're in this this flow of being in between the two. And it's really helpful that we have both, because if we were just stuck in parasympathetic all day and we were healing and we were digesting, and then something stressful came up and we just didn't care, we just laid there and got eaten by a lion, that wouldn't be great. But then if we are just in fight or flight all the time, then it doesn't give our body a chance to recover, to heal, to digest any of our food, to reproduce if that's what you're into. But the problem in our day and age is our brain knows the difference between a lion trying to eat us and us being stuck in traffic. But our nervous system receives this information in a very similar way, and it initiates a very similar stress response. So you being caught in traffic, or every time you have an interaction with your boss is stressful, it's triggering in really similar responses to as if you were being chased by a herd of lions. So just imagine that you are stuck in traffic and you're now 10 minutes late to get to work. Probably what's going to happen is your heart rate is going to go up, your breathing is going to be really shallow up in the top section of your chest, your muscles maybe start to tighten, and then your digestion is probably not going to work anymore. Your digestion shuts down, your healing and your muscles shut down. Anything else that isn't super important and critical right now gets pushed away. So there's no point in your body trying to digest your breakfast when you're about to become somebody's lunch. And I know what you're saying. Like I said it before, your body knows the difference between a lion and a traffic jam, but the system still recognizes it as a very similar stimulus. And your system still recognizes this as the same sort of stimulus. And the problem is here, if this happens a fair few times a day, lots of times a week, you see where I'm getting at here. If our body is chronically in this state of fight or flight, then it's the absence of the healing, the recovering, the immune system doing its thing, and we end up just feeling weak and sick. You do that over months, years, decades, you're going to run into some really scary issues down the track. Okay, so we don't want to talk about that right now. What we do want to talk about is how we can actually make this better right now. So most people think that rest is the absence of movement. You know, we're laying on the couch, we're laying on our bed, sitting on the ground, resting my body, resting my system. Not exactly. So here's what's actually happening. So you get home from a long day at work, you lay down on the couch, maybe you put something on the TV, and you start having a little scroll. And depending on your algorithm on your social media website of choice, you could be looking at cute cats or cute dogs or maybe Neil the seal. He's pretty funny. Or you could be looking at images of war-torn countries or learning about how there's a new serial killer down the road that hasn't been caught. And then half an hour goes by, still on your phone, Liam Neeson's in the background hunting down kidnappers.
They're going to take you.
I think they're...
So while you're laying down on the couch and resting, you're actually exposing your body, your brain, your system to so much different information, all this stuff in such a short period of time. Imagine if you took someone from 100 years ago and showed them that much visual stimulation in a day. They would have an absolute meltdown. So what I'm trying to say here is your body may be still, but you're constantly feeding your brain images of conflict, stress, danger, uncertainty. These are all things that your system is going to perceive as a threat. Things that are going to keep pushing that slider towards the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight. Here's my favorite way to think about it. Rest is not the absence of movement. Rest is the absence of threat. Your body only starts to prioritize recovery, healing, digestion, all that good stuff when you put it in a safe and comfortable environment. Otherwise, we're going to end up tired, sore, grumpy, and sick. So I can already hear you guys loud and clear through the video. Joel's going to tell us we got to get a sauna and an ice bath, and we got to get a float tank, and we got to do red light therapy, because otherwise how else are we going to get into this rest and digest system? And I could see how you would think that, because the wellness industry has done a really, really good job at convincing us that you need to buy your way in to this nervous system relaxing, recharging, recovering, using all these keywords that honestly are really gross. They tell you that if you're not spending money on yourself, then you're definitely not doing it right. And look, I totally get it. Those things do exist. Saunas, the float tanks, the ice baths, and they do have that place. But when you're just starting out and you're time poor and maybe you're money poor as well, I wouldn't be looking at those things to be able to get the benefits of what we're trying to do today. It's really easy to use time and cost as an excuse of why you're not going to do that thing. Oh, I'm so stressed out and I can't relax properly because I don't have an access to a sauna, or I don't have a bath, or I don't have... List goes on. But the thing is, your nervous system, this old school wiring system, it still thinks we're being chased by lions. It doesn't know or care if you're in an expensive spa or sauna, or if you're just out in the middle of nowhere or in your backyard, sitting comfortably and quietly. It can't tell if you're spending money on it. The great thing about that is all the things we're going to do here today are absolutely free. So we don't have to worry about our nervous system thinking that we're stingy buggers. It's all good. It can't even tell. We're going to trick it. We're going to trick it into thinking that we're in an expensive day spa, but really we're just sitting on the ground in our lounge room. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so what actually works and what doesn't work? There's tons of stuff that works. And I've included a few of them here because you might absolutely hate doing some of them. Others you might be like, oh yeah, cool, that's my thing. You could do them all. Doesn't really matter. But a lot of these things you've probably heard about and you're going to say, oh, duh, yeah, no way. But the thing is, I'm reminding you about them today, and then you're going to do them and you're going to feel a bunch better. And then you're going to do them the day after that, and you're going to keep doing them for the rest of your life whenever you feel stressed out, and you're going to thank me for them. All right, the reason I put this as number 1 is that it is legitimately free. And it's hands down one of the most powerful tools that we have at controlling our own nervous system. So our autonomic nervous system, it runs pretty much on autopilot. But one of the main things that we can control is our breathing. For thousands and thousands of years, yogis have been using their breath to control their physical and mental states. They call it pranayama, and you can do all kinds of different things with your breath to influence your mind and your body. But today we're just going to focus on how we can get our nervous system a bit more relaxed. So with our breathing, we're going to do the complete opposite of what it would normally do when we're stressed out or in a heightened situation. So think about what would normally happen if we were being stressed out. We would be doing short, shallow breaths only up into here, probably pretty fast. So all we need to do is make our breaths a little bit longer, a little bit more controlled, and a little bit more deeper. First one we're looking at today is box breathing. So we got a box, all the sides are equal. We're going to be doing 4 breaths in through the nose. Hold for 4 breaths. Out for 4 breaths. Hold for 4 breaths. And we repeat this for a minimum of about 10 times. And then we just see how we feel. So the whole time we're doing this box breathing, we really want to think just breathing in through the nose, holding, out through the nose, holding. And we want to breathe nice and deep, further down into our lungs than we normally would. So it might feel tight or restricted around our ribs, and that's because we've just been breathing up in here for most of our lives, and that's completely cool. When you start to get a bit more comfortable with it, you can take the 4 seconds up to 6, up to 8, up to 10, but this isn't a competition. If you feel like you're starting to, like lose your breath or run out of air, then just take it back to the one that felt comfortable. We're not trying to put ourselves in another stressful situation. This is not a competition. We're not trying to win anything here. We're just trying to chill out. So you guys might know about the next one if you have animals in your house, or more specifically having a dog, where every now and then you'll hear your dog hasn't really done much all day and it just lets out this big old sigh. And then you generally tell it something like, oh my God, you must be so tired from laying around all day and eating food and doing nothing. But the dogs, they know that it feels really good for them. They know that it is going to chill themselves out when they do these types of sighs. Sweet. So the way that we're going to do it, we're going to go a big inhale through the nose. Once we get a full big inhale in there, we're going to actually try and do another inhale and then out through the mouth and completely like drop all of our ribs, and we can make a noise if we want. So we sound, we might sound a little bit dumb, we might look a little bit dumb, but trust me, big one in through the nose. It feels so good. So if you feel a bit weird about doing this around people, do this in your car, do this when you're at home by yourself, but I want you to be able to do 3 in a row and see how you feel. Keep these ones in your back pocket for the next time you have to do a public speaking presentation, or you have to meet with a really stressful client or family member, do 3 of those big sighs, and then you can be on your way, hopefully feeling like in a much more relaxed state. So this next technique, what we're going to be doing is focusing on having a longer exhale. These longer exhales have this genuinely powerful ability of completely calming our nervous system down. So we start off going 4 breaths in through our nose. We hold for 7. And then we exhale through our mouth for 8. But we want to like purse our lips a little bit so we don't let all that air out at once and we feel like we are going to drown. Amazing. And so we repeat that for as many rounds as we can. Just try with 10. In the beginning, you might misjudge the first initial inhale. Try and go nice and deep on the inhale, big on that 4. And then when you do the exhale, go nice and slow on it. Don't you lose all your air in one go, because you will feel like you're having this feeling of drowning. And once you do it 5 or 10 times, you'll probably get the rhythm down, and then you'll be good to go. So with these 3 breathing techniques, just try them out a little bit. You don't need to breathe all day, every day in a box breathing, but every now and then when you're feeling like a little bit overwhelmed or stressed out, maybe you could pull one of these out. I knew a coach who would do box breathing every time he would get in and out of his car when he was going to work. So if he had a split shift, then he might even be doing it 6 to 8 times every day. And it adds up. Over time, if you can take these little pauses where you can bring your nervous system back down into the state of healing and resting, your nervous system will thank you for it. All right, now that we are done with breath, we are now moving on to self-myofascial release. Now you're like, what the hell is that? Foam rolling would be the term that most people would use, but I don't necessarily mean just using a big fat foam roller. Any sort of implement or tool that can put pressure into your body in a different way, that we can apply some sort of massage. So a stick, a ball, even a Theragun, I guess. Any way that we can give ourselves a massage. I recently heard a podcast with a dude called Kelly Starrett, who's somewhat of a movement expert in America. And he said no one ever got off the massage table looking to start a fight. And he's damn right. I don't know if you get massages often or you know what that feels like, but you generally don't feel like doing anything after you've had a massage. And that is because of this response that we get from this muscle and tension release. It is sending us into this parasympathetic nervous system, this system that wants us to heal and just chill out. So I'm not going to show you any areas to actually foam roll specifically, but I am going to show you just some ways to amplify your practice, how to make it a little bit better. And if you're new, then this is going to be an awesome place for you to start. So the first thing for me to flag is that a lot of people have this no pain, no gain mentality when it comes to life in general. But when it comes to foam rolling, self-release, this just isn't really the greatest approach to take. When you add a stimulus to your body or you stretch too intensely, the natural response from the nervous system is to tense up and to protect. And so you'll probably get this tensing in the area of the body itself. Then you'll probably get your jaw starting to clench or your fists clenching. Then your breathing will actually start to razz up a little bit. And now you've just got yourself in completely the wrong area of your nervous system. So if that's you, I'm trying to tell you here to maybe dial it back a little bit. Take a little bit more time and take the less aggressive approach, and then your nervous system will chill. Like, we're not looking at trying to fix a muscle here. We're looking at just trying to get your body in general relaxed and in a state of repair. And if you're liking the sound of this so far and you're like, oh, amazing, I'll just lay down on the ground, put a tennis ball on my glutes, and I'll just scroll some more reels. Sweet, sounds awesome. Now, some of you might be thinking, amazing, I get to lay down on the ground, put a tennis ball on my glute, just like scroll some reels, and then my nervous system is going to completely chill out and I'm going to feel heaps better. Wrong. Sorry. Imagine this, you're laying down in a massage clinic, you've got a therapist and they're working on your glutes and they're kind of just clunking around with their elbow. And then at the same time, you can hear that they're on their phone on reels, just like scrolling past, having a little giggle. And in the meantime, like your glutes just like spazzing out because it's like tensed up because they're just like going all hammer and tongs on you. You can feel that they're not in it. They're not paying the attention to that muscle, to your body at all. And this is exactly what happens if we're doing that with our phone at the same time. So it might feel a little bit good and you might accidentally do some good to your body. But if you leave your phone and put it in a different room and instead you go nice and soft and gentle and you focus on your breathing, which is another great way that we just talked about to get your nervous system feeling relaxed, you're going to get things done 10 times quicker. So people just want to smash through stuff really fast and not pay attention, but trust me, the more attention you can pay to yourself when we're doing this self-massage or this stretching or strength training, it's going to increase your body awareness, your proprioception, all the good stuff that we need as healthy movers. And so don't write it off as a waste of time. So with this next one, you might be doing this without even realizing. And I'm sure if you work with someone like this or you have someone in your family that's like this, you would definitely notice it. And that's someone that just sings or hums. And they're singing or humming, they might not even be a real song. It might just be this made up sort of tune. And you tend to see it happen when there's like a bit of an awkward situation or, maybe like there's a bit of a silence and no one's really talking or someone's getting in the way of the other person. And then automatically this like singing or humming starts to happen. And this is our automatic response for a lot of us. We just want to do something that kind of, it almost soothes us. It makes us feel safe. It's like we're singing ourselves a lullaby or something. But they've actually shown in studies that when we hum or we sing and we use these muscles in our vocal cords, it does actually send this signal down to one of these nerves called the vagus nerve, and that stimulates parasympathetic activity. It's not just completely random that people seem to be doing this at the same time. So next time that you're feeling like a little bit razzed up or you're feeling a little bit stressed, if you're in your car, put some music on that you can sing along to. I know like a lot of us might just be like listening to hip hop or dance music or things like that, stuff that like gets us going, but think of some songs that you used to listen to when you were growing up or when you were a teenager, stuff that you know the words to, and start trying to sing a little bit again. Because when we sing and we sing these songs that we used to know, we're sending these signals to our body that we're feeling nice and safe and calm and relaxed. We don't necessarily have to even sing them. We can just be humming them as well. So just as simple as that's not a song. Maybe it is. As you can hear, I'm just using these chords here, just going this like that. And even when I do that, I feel like the muscles around my jaw start to relax. It's really awesome. And if you're one of the few people out there that don't actually enjoy listening to music, that is all good. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can just hum a constant tune or a constant tone. And the easiest thing for you to be able to do would be to do what they do in yoga at the start or at the end of yoga classes. They do this thing where they chant Om. And essentially all you're doing is making the sound of Om. And so the first thing you do is a big breath in through your nose, you go, and then as you go out, you make the sound Om. You go Om. And as you could see there, I made the sound, the first part of the sound was my mouth was open, I was singing, and the second part, I was just humming it. And so you could just do it like that, a big breath in, and then just hum. And really try and focus on making like the deepest noise that you possibly can. I actually think it's really fun just to play with the sort of noises that your vocal cords can make, because as we get older in life, we kind of just get pigeonholed into the noises that our voice can make. You're like, oh, that's the sound that I make. But the more that you can play around with things like that, the more you can loosen up this area and the more chilled out you can get your system. And on top of the actual physical vibration that you feel in these muscles that send this calming relaxation down into your body, when we're doing these big hums, we're doing the same thing as we're doing in our breathing exercises, where we're doing this big long exhale instead. So this is the thing that is proven. There's studies that prove this, that the longer exhale is going to calm the system down. It's going to lower the heart rate. Before I head off, I'm just going to remind you that we do actually need this sympathetic system. It's not our enemy. We've evolved with both of these systems for a reason, and they both have their time to shine. It's just most of us are spending too long in this fight, flight, and freeze mode, and not long enough in this rest, digest, and heal. And it's the reason that we're waking up sore, we're waking up tired, we're getting sick more often. And all the stuff we looked over today doesn't cost $1 million. You don't have to be shelling out left, right, and center for saunas and ice baths and massages and all these treatments. You can do all of this stuff at home for free. It doesn't matter. Your system doesn't care how much money you're spending on it. It just cares that you're looking after it and you're making it feel safe. Now, I did actually leave out one really awesome tool out of this video today, but it just deserves its own video in itself because it's so potent, and it's a movement-based tool that you could use at your house. It doesn't cost any money, and what it's doing is helping relieve and reduce stored tension that is trapped in your body. And I know, this is getting into woo-woo territory, but trust me, when you're in fight or flight for that long, you are going to hold, your muscles are going to hold and store tension. And the best way that we can get rid of that is to do this movement, which is essentially shaking. So if you want to dive into it a little bit deeper, it's super interesting and it makes you feel so damn good. I've put a video up above here.